Well, in my view, not just this incident, but realistically speaking, I think that we lost the battle way back. And all those who are keenly following...
We lost the battle way back.
Yes.
At a time when it has been most heightened.
Yes.
With the president putting the presidency on the line.
Well, I think, to use your word, in my view, that was basically some grandstanding on the part of the president. Because you only have to read Professor Frimpong Boateng's report to come to the conclusion that, well, it was either some public deception activity that was happening, or, you know, it was basically politics as usual. Because Frimpong Boateng highlights some of the challenges, even within the Interministerial Committee Against Illegal Mining, and talks about the conduct of some members of parliament, talks about the involvement of some government officials and appointees in the mining activities that were supposed to be dealt with, talks about, you know, how communities were complaining, and yet people were still, you know, going on with their activities. And we've read reports about the committee itself storming a particular forest reserve and discovering that there were military people there actually protecting the illegal miners. At a time when we say we had Galamsey, you know, all the other operations that were put in place to ostensibly stop mining. And then the committee gets into a forest reserve and discovers that there's actually a group of military officers protecting the miners. And these are also issues that Erastus has raised in many of his reports. Now, Samson, I think that beyond even the Frimpong Boateng report, which people, you know, would dispute that, some parts of the reports, you know, are not true, or a true reflection of the happenings, you only need to travel across the country to see the ongoing devastation. And it is not a different president who is there. It's the same president who said he will put his presidency on the line against illegal mining.
As a result of which you have a hung parliament. He would have had perhaps a majority parliament. But because of this campaign, he didn't get as many MPs into parliament.
Well, I wonder if there has been any scientific study to prove to that point, that it was because of that posturing.
They made losses in those mining areas where they would originally make some, you know,
I
good showing.
For example, in 2016, the MPP won the election, as is always mentioned, by almost 1 million votes. Was it because there was some efforts to stop some mining activities to happen?
That was the president. That was the president.
But before then, the NDC had majority in parliament. And 2016, they lost drastically, came to about 103 or so. So I am not saying that I have any evidence to say, well, it was because of the activities against illegal mining or otherwise, but I also believe that it is just one of those things that supports a certain narrative without any basis. Now, I know you know about the activities that are ongoing in our forest reserves currently. You know, literally about some 22 or 23 forest reserves have been literally given away for mining. And it is happening under this same precedent. So the other day when this Greening Ghana activity was happening, I had always argued that this is a great initiative to try and, you know, get our country, you know, with more trees, against the backdrop of this ongoing climate change and all the challenges with environment. But what is the point in saying that you are greening Ghana and destroying the green that already exists? and it's as a result of the introduction of LI 2462 that allows for the president to actually waive that ban on mining in forest reserves. So people have said, look, this whole activities in our forest reserves cannot happen if the president, you know, doesn't approve of it. So are these things happening with the tacit approval of the president? And the question is, why do you destroy existing not just forest, but we mean forest reserves, including areas that have been designated as globally significant biodiversity areas.
Achimota.
Yes.
No, Achimota.
No, Kakum.
Kakum
and other places.
Chibi.
Yes. You know.
Chebi.
So how do we then believe that indeed there is that commitment to this whole mining activities? And of course it is complex, Samson. If you and I come from Upper East, and now people say, well, it is becoming the capital of mining. A lot of mining activities taking place there. You talk to the people and they will tell you, should we sit on the land that we are told has gold and yet be hungry? So it comes down to what opportunities are we creating for the people if we're saying that they shouldn't go into mining? Because you cannot simply say, stay there, be hungry, we'll give your land to a large-scale concession or a legal miner, and they will come and take away whatever it is that they have to take away, and then you would be there. It's a very complex situation. But I don't think that there has been that commitment to really dealing with this mining menace. You go across, I mean, the White Volta, the Red Volta, the tributaries in the north. You go and they're all milky, looking brown.
Yeah.
You know? And somebody told me in Bolga, I was in Bolga at the beginning of the week, and somebody said, oh, we used to be told that the definition of water, or one of the clear characteristics of water, is that it's colorless. And that definition has now been defined in Ghana. You know, water is, you know, has a brown color because of this whole illegal mining activities.
I'm not too old, but you know, we played in those places. The water running through so clean. Yes. We fetched and drank from them straight away without treating.
Yes. And Samson, let me say that maybe in the coming weeks, we will let Ghanaians know the people behind the leases that have been granted in these forest reserves. And I'm sure that you're going to be shocked. And that would give you more evidence that...
Fourth Estate doing some RTI again.
Exactly. You know, and that would tell
RTI
you
journalism,
whether
and it's good.
The president has been committed to this whole fight or has not been committed.
What do you expect? What do you expect should happen in this instance situation?
With regards to the gentleman?
Yes.
Well, as Honorable Inusa said, this is somebody seeking to be a lawmaker, to make laws. And I believe that every MP, when they make laws, they expect that the laws will be enforced. Enforcement of the law is supposed to be done by the police. And of course, the military is there to defend the territorial integrity of our country. And for the sake of seeking to win power in order to come and make laws, you are saying that if a military man comes to your area and tries to do whatever, if they beat you, beat him back. They slap you, slap him back. And these are the kinds of people that we potentially would have in parliament. In a serious country, I think that processes would have included possibly disqualifying such a person from even running.
But the law on disqualification in this situation will be after a conviction.
Yes.
Yes.
And that is why I'm saying
because you hear him also saying, and I don't know if you process it the way I do, he's urging them to give bribes.
Yes.
Yes. Says if it's 2 million, 5 million, you have, give it to those people so that they will be nice with you. That is out of your own magnanimity. You know, I'm like, this is going to be a lawmaker in my country.
Yeah, and for me, that is the problem. But Samson, you know what? I think we have to also be fair. I am sure it's only because it has come out. But I believe that across the country, across both parties, people are doing and saying things that perhaps may even be worse than this. It's only that in this case, we are realizing it.
Right.
Because we've gotten to a point where in this country, people think that to get power, anything goes. It's not about the patriotism, it's not about the future of the country and all of that. It's about whatever I would do to get power, I would. And that is why we're witnessing all these chaos and confrontations at, you know, registration centers, transfer of votes that is happening.
Would you say there's something we ought not be oblivious of? But whether that's a justification for his comments, I don't know. And Honorable Yunus Afseni can actually help because he has been there. There are soldiers, there are police officers, national security officers who are actually exploiting and extorting minors. And it appears this is this man's target in this conversation. That they come there and harass them. People who have not been sent to go and do that kind of job, they are there. And I think there have been occasions where we have seen the evidence, where even among the police and the military, there's some infighting because somebody's block belongs to some chief somewhere. And when I say chief, I mean military chief or somebody.
No, Samson, I think I mentioned a while ago that in Professor Frimpong Boateng's report, he talks about a point where at one point when the Interministerial Committee went to a forest reserve, there were military people there protecting the illegal miners. It's something that he's highlighted. Right. And if you were to talk to people in various communities affected by mining and why we are unable to deal with the menace, they will tell you that, oh, the security people who are deployed, they come for the first 1 week, maybe they are committed, but after that, they actually would be supporting the people to do the mining. They would tell them, oh, tomorrow we hear that commander is coming, so tomorrow we'll come to site. So tomorrow please don't go for these activities. And eventually they link up with the miners. Whatever the miners are getting, they share with them, and then activities continues. And that is why I talk about the whole thing about whether we really have patriots in this country, people who really care about the future of this country, the sustainability of this country. I think that for me is the most fundamental question or fundamental problem. Everyone wants to do just anything to survive, get whatever they would want to get. So if it's a police officer, he goes there and say, oh, am I the only one who is coming to defend Ghana? Everyone is doing whatever they would do to get their money. Why am I here to, kill myself?
From where you sit as a media trainer and working in the media, would you say the police have a duty to give us updates on this, beyond simply informing us that he's been arrested? And the arrest happens at a point where people actually have their doubts whether this is not contrived as a ruse to get us off, this issue. So they say, oh, once we say there's an arrest and they are dealing with it, people will not say anything about it again. He will go on and do his job.
Well, I think it's an important issue. And I believe, as I said, there are other people who may be doing other things that perhaps would even be worse than this. I mentioned that in a serious democracy, processes would have been activated that could possibly even lead to the disqualification of this gentleman. And I think you come from the legal perspective. But the political side of things, whether NDC or MPP, if a party wants to say, look, we are a national development, national-oriented party, the president has a position on this matter, has made declarations. We've sent out troops, spent so much money. If we have a candidate who has this kind of posturing as a political party, because when the MPP or NDC sometimes impose sanctions or do some disqualifications, it's not about having gone through the courtrooms and so on and so forth. It's about the party and how it interprets things. Kwabena Japan, Afoko, and others, were relieved of their post, and I don't think it was after a court decision. The party would have its own internal
but
process.
My question was specific about what the police should be doing, because now the journalists do not have the opportunity to ask the police officers there what they are doing and to get updates.
I think...
now the police does this at their own pleasure. Yeah. If they want to issue a statement or they put a tweet, then the media go pick it up. They don't speak to the media.
Well, I think the media certainly have a responsibility to keep following this matter. As journalists, there is a limit we can go. If you try to engage an actor within a news story and they are unwilling to state their position or state their side of the story, and there's evidence that you've done what you have to do, you can go ahead and do your story. I would want to believe that part of the things we should also do is to engage the police at headquarters to say that, look, this is a matter of national interest. We would want to have updates about it. Your commanders on the ground, not even the regional commander, is allowed to grant interviews, or unless maybe permission is granted, which is, as has been said, a very problematic position and policy to adopt. But otherwise, we have to keep following. And I will be interested in knowing what the position of the MPP as a political party on this is.
Richard is here.